The chair now will recognize Ms. Radewagen for 5 minutes to speak on her legislation.
Talofa lava. Let me begin by thanking Chair Hageman and Ranking Member Ledger Fernandez and the rest of the committee leadership for holding this hearing so early in this new session of Congress. I sincerely appreciate the Natural Resources Committee's commitment to resolving issues faced by the territories. I also want to thank the Honorable Talawenga Eleasalo Ba'alele, the Lieutenant Governor of American Samoa, for being here on behalf of our governor, the Honorable Lemanu Palepoi Sialenga Maunga, to speak for our people on a matter of the utmost urgency. A special thank you as well to Deputy Assistant Secretary of the Department of the Interior, Keone J. Nakoa, for his leadership on behalf of Secretary Holland and Assistant Secretary Cantor on both bills before us today, and for their successful negotiations last year on the Compact of Free Association. And talofa and welcome also to Swains Island Delegate, Sua Alexander Jennings. I don't see him, but he must be there. H.R. 6062 will roll back what was changed in 1983 by efforts that, while well-intentioned, attempted to fix something that was not broken. In 1983, a one-sentence provision was inserted with little notice into a territorial spending bill. This was done without a hearing and outside of regular order. And if ever implemented, that technical amendment would take back rights of self-governance that Congress and the President had delegated to American Samoa between 1929 and 1983. The explanation given by the sponsors of Section 12 of PL 98-213 in 1983 was that it was needed to prevent abuse of broad powers delegated by Congress to the President in 1929 and then redelegated by the President to the Secretary of the Interior in 1951. That 1983 provision imposed the mandate that no amendment approved by the Secretary could take effect until Congress enacted it as federal law. This was itself an amendment to the local constitution imposed without regular order or deliberation. The main problem with this unexpected congressional mandate is that it would apply to amendments proposed under the local constitution by the people and ratified by majority vote in a referendum. This effectively allows Congress to nullify amendments approved by the people and the Secretary simply by doing nothing. The authority is also redundant. Under the territorial clause, the Congress can approve or disapprove amendments made by the people and or the Secretary. What that really demonstrates is that federal power is supreme and the people of American Samoa as a territory have powers of local self-determination only to the extent consistent with applicable federal law. It is technically true that under Executive Order 10264, the Secretary has powers over territorial law that could be abused. But over the years in multiple referendums, including the 2022 vote, the voters in American Samoa have rejected proposals to reduce the powers of the Secretary under local constitution. Additionally, congressional oversight of the Interior and the rest of the administration has developed significantly since the early 80s, further limiting the potential for any perceived overreach by current or future secretaries. Congress has well-established plenary power over all the territories, and repealing the 1983 statute does not and cannot affect that jurisdiction. Instead, it is Section 12 of PL 98-213, which takes away the local power to amend the local constitution and presents the most potent and present risk of abuse, not by the Secretary, but by Congress, including power to nullify any amendment the people may want and do so by act or omission, either declaring its reasons or in silence. So with the committee's permission, I would like to enter for the record a letter from the Senate President and Speaker of the House of the American Samoan Legislature in support of H.R. 6062, in which they outline the long history our territory has had with the United States and the Secretary of Interior, and their desire to continue that relationship in a way that respects local determination.
So ordered.
American Samoa has over 70 years of experience being able to work out problems and sustain a productive relationship with the Office of the Secretary. And the people of American Samoa know where we would go if the Secretary abused power. We would go to Congress and ask for intervention to help us protect our way of life if we ever need it. But who will protect us if Congress abuses its power under the 1983 Act? Who do we call if Congress decides to nullify local self-determination amendments by doing nothing and letting our acts of determination, self-determination, die on the vine? We currently have power to oppose abuse by the Secretary under Executive Order 10264 by turning to Congress, but we have no power to compel or even influence Congress to act affirmatively under the 1983 Act. So, that one sentence add-on buried in the 1983 territorial spending bill takes back the fruits of limited self-determination we've achieved under the 1929 ratification of the deeds of cession. Executive Order 10264 and the local constitution adopted thereunder. Yet, the local constitution itself has never been enacted by federal law, so the 1983 technical amendment prohibits the local constitution from being amended locally by the people in the same manner it was adopted locally by the people. That is why in 1984, just 1 year after the act in question was passed outside regular, the U.S. Senate Committee on Energy and Natural Resources held an oversight meeting on the matter. And at that hearing, the U.S. Department of Justice witness expressed concern that the 1983 Act was federalization of an internal local constitutional act, self-determination, and could alter the special status of American Samoa under the 1900 and 1904 deeds of cession. And now, here we are in 2024, 5 proposed amendments ratified by the people are pending with the Secretary, who has paused in taking action to give Congress a chance to avoid setting any unwanted precedents and to consider restoring the greater degree of self-determination we had before the 1983 bill. Thus, H.R. 6062 is a long overdue one-sentence technical amendment correcting the 1983 Territorial Spending Act, but this time we are in regular order. And unlike 1983, the people of American Samoa are represented and have a seat at the table. I look forward to hearing from our witnesses, and I yield back, Madam Chairwoman.